rain. Rain, rain, and more rain. That's all we're getting right now. Flood risk is back up again. Oh well, I've just finished bringing down a ton of hay. Literally 15 bales is a ton. And it's time to close things up and head downstairs. And we're going to talk a little bit about mud fever. Because rain, for some people, it's a catalyst. I guess for some horses. Whoa, here comes the door. There's a ghost in here. Alright. When I bring down hay, it tends to kind of look like this, but we can quickly just go and it all gets sorted out. So let's feed a few horses and we'll chit chat along the way. But recently I got into a little bit of a conversation with somebody who was trying to fit it's the food truck, I know, fit a round peg in a square hole. And it didn't matter how many people told her she was fitting a round peg in a square hole, because there were other people saying that round peg will definitely fit in that square hole. And that's the thing about the horse world, as we all have sort of different opinions. But then there's science, and we can always rely on science to never let us down. Hi Ronnie, you're first. You got carrot on the ground. How's it going, buddy? Usually Ronnie's a bit of a cat. He doesn't come out in the rain at all, but except for his head, he keeps himself pretty dry, even though it has been raining non-stop. Okay, first bags for him. Let's get that done. Hello, Lena. You're definitely not a cat. Look how soaked she is. She just stands out in the rain like it's nothing. Yeah. Oh, we're getting rain. Okay, one horse is done. Picked up his old bags, take those along, and this is sort of the process of feeding, in case anybody's wondering. Just make our way around and get everybody sorted for the day. It is just boring. So it's the next day, because taking video in weather like that just wasn't gonna work out. And we get to say hi to all the horses again. Hello, Luke. How's it going, buddy? Mr. Wild's lying down, having himself a little nap at the moment. Rain's been on and off today as well, so I've got, I don't know, maybe a couple hours to finish up all the little things that I've been trying to get done today. But I want to talk about mud fever. And the reason is because we're getting into sort of this wetter season. Hello, Lena. Yes, you're a good girl. And when we get into the wetter times, it's quite common that this particular problem shows up in horses. And mud fever, or there's other terms for it as well, depending on the part of the world you're in. It could be called scratches. Hello, Roni. Want to say hello to everybody? It's kind of nice now that it's not raining. You're all dry. Hi, buddy. You're so weird. You're such a strange horse. Okay, moving on. Scratches, rain scald, mud fever, rain rot. It's all a skin issue. And the skin issues happen because there's an opening. Surprisingly, our skin, even in our human bodies, is very resilient to things until we have an opening. And in such a case, we would get an infection. Hello, Gracie. We're come to say hello to you while we talk about mud fever. Hi. You're looking very pretty today. Hello. So when it rains or gets muddy or gets, I don't know, I can watch her as I talk. It gets muddy or it gets just wet. And our skin naturally, when wet and stuff like that, it becomes a little bit more susceptible to getting injuries. And the idea this particular person had was that the horse was spending too much time in some sand, in an arena, riding around and stuff, which I had kind of said, well, my horses are in there almost 7 days a week, and so far so good. So I think it's something else. And the thing about mud fever, or things like thrush and stuff, once you get rid of it and then you let the horse maintain themselves, they very rarely, if ever, get it back. I've never seen it here, even though we live in just as wet a condition. I mean, it's dry right now, but wet as conditions as many. And to give you, to give you an idea of where this stuff grows, in case you're really unfamiliar, oh, look at that, what a lovely horsey, you're so good, thank you, is it's usually back here, right where the pastern and this hoof area meet, all in here. They get a bit of a worn out spot, and then it gets an infection, and then you have to treat it. You have to make it all better. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes diligence. In some cases it can take weeks, but it must be done, because mud fever or scratches can actually travel all the way up the leg. Hello, Yoka, I've come to say hello to you. You are all wet, a little sandy. Yes, you are. And awfully friendly. Yeah. So, the cause of, I could say this without a doubt, and I'm going to link the video that I did on how to treat it. Treating it is, well, you have to be diligent, is relatively simple. And in fact, if you look in the comments of that video, there's another, if you guys know who Ross Jacobs is, he put in his little recipe on what he uses, which is very similar to mine. He uses a petroleum and sulfur mix, and I use a zinc oxide, a little bit of copper sulfate crystals in it mix sometimes, but usually just zinc oxide, something that's going to kill off some kind of bacteria. And sulfur actually supposedly has healing qualities to it. But once those are gone, as you can see on Gracie and on any of the horses here, what we don't do, we don't shave their feet. It's not the wet that causes it, it's the ability to be abraded. And so once you've solved the problem, either by what I do with the video that I linked down below for you, or whatever means, then it's important to not let it happen anymore. And even here, we'll take a look at Lena. She's still got all of her feathers, all of her hair, and this helps protect this whole area from being scratched if it was the case that sand is the problem. But by shaving, sometimes you can get a little nick from shaving, even if it is just clippers. And it also reduces the natural protection of the horse's body by removing that hair. And that can go for many things. Hi, friend. And the other thing about that, you know, is the same thing we're talking about, whether they get, you know, problems on their back and their shoulders and stuff like that. Usually there's a scratch, there's some kind of nick there, and then some kind of bacteria gets in, a little infection, and poof, you've got a scab, you've got some festering. It can be quite painful for horses. And in the case that you don't solve the problem of the mud fever in the legs or in the feet, and it climbs up the legs, well, that horse can go quite lame. It'd be very painful for them, and it takes a long time to heal up in such a case. But it can be done. And once that's done, letting it all naturally kind of be there can assist in them not to get scratched again, not to have an opening in the skin. As soon as you've got an opening, you probably got a problem, and a very high chance. And with that, of course, is the environment that they live in how dirty it is. How much are they standing around in a stall? Do they have a lot of urine or manure kind of that they're standing in? Is it a lot of, it's called mud fever because some horses will just be standing around in mud, and mud's fine until it's really dirty and there's a scratch or an opening in the skin. So it can be both environment and also the horse's sort of physical health, and in regards to their skin being one or there's openings in them. So I wanted to put that out there, and a reminder to everybody who's maybe combating mud fever, some things to look for, some ideas of how to solve the problem. And that's about it for now. I'm going to leave that at that. Any questions, comments, chuck them down below and let me know anytime. I'm happy to answer them, and we'll see you guys in the next one. I've actually come to say hello to Mr. Fancy here. He's a little bit on alert, so I'm not getting too close, just too quick yet. Some days he's fantastic, and some days he looks like he's going to jump up and run away like a crazy horse. So let's try. He's not the biggest fan of being approached when lying down, but I keep working at it. Right? I know. I give you little scratches. You should blink a little. So we want some blinkings. We can get rid of the goop on his eyeball, and he might be a little bit happier for that. We'll come a little closer. Scratch him on the ear, top of the head. He loves that. Look at him. Oh, he says that's the bee's knees. That's the best thing since some sliced bread. Look at him. And then you make a friend, and just as you're kind of, making a good friend out of him, he's like, this is the best. Scratch harder. Look at that mouth. Look at him go. All right, a little bit on the top. He says a little bit up here if you could. Oh, it's a good spot. And then a little pets. And say, thanks for letting me be here. And then see how his eye has calmed. I don't know if you guys can see that. There. See, there's a couple of blinks. A little more lazy looking. Hello, my friend. There we go. And now we can leave.